Hello, 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 and welcome back to the Awakening Philosophy Podcast. We are in some pretty amazing and profound stuff right now. We've been doing a lot of good work getting through this book. This book's a goddamn banger. Having a lot of fun exploring this book. But what we've been doing, what we did last time was have a look at why it's so fun. What does this book allow us to do? Because we are asking questions about dreams. Dreams are themselves a kind of book. So everything that we are learning about how to read this book, we could potentially apply to how to listen to and read our dreams. We've been looking for puzzles as we go through this book. We're looking for puzzles in the specific content or words or logos. And we're also looking for puzzles in the structure or the dialectic. Hey, if there's a structure to how the work is being presented, to how arguments unfold, either the thinking of the author or the characters, Socrates, and they miss a step, could that be a question? Are we being asked to fill in that missing step? If we're getting a series of terms but there's something missing, are we being asked to find that missing term? If there's an analogy being presented, a king is to his subjects as a shepherd is to, and then that last term is being missed out. Are we being asked to fill in that missing term? So the greater we have an understanding of the logos, the terms, and its structure, the dialectic, the greater we can find puzzles. And the greater we are familiar with analogies, the greater we can look for puzzles in analogies. But also, we're seeing that we answer the puzzles that we find in the book with the book itself. When you're playing a video game and you have to unlock the gate to get into the mansion, I like to use Resident Evil and Silent Hill as my games for analogies. So the puzzle is, how do we get into the mansion through the front gate that's locked? Well, wouldn't you have to find a key in the game? You don't want to carry a bunch of keys into the game with you using a game genie or game shark or a hack. Equally so, we want to find the answers to the puzzles in the book within the book itself. And of course, the greater we are familiar with, the better we can read the words and not interpret what's interpretation, to add what isn't there or to leave out what is, the greater we can see those words. And the better we are familiar with the structure of the logos, the dialectic, the greater we can construct our own dialectic or answer to those questions. So there's two parts of the game. The logos or the dialectic structure of thinking, looking for questions and answers in that, using that, but also catching when we are interpreting, when we're missing questions or adding terms to our answers that aren't in the text. The two parts of the game that we have concluded or are recognizing from the text are also the two parts of the human game, the logos and the pathologos, seeing and interpretation, understanding and belief, Socrates and Jesus, the Hellenics and the Judaics, philosophy, religion, the third hypothesis and the second hypothesis. So not only are we learning how to read, we're also gaining insight into how we can listen to and understand the messages from our dreams, but we're also able to understand for ourselves what exactly we are doing as we master texts and dreams. We are moving from the fourth to the third hypothesis. What does that mean? Well, if we use that same dialectical structure of understanding and apply it to the most meaningful things, or the most meaningful subject for us, our own soul's development, understanding humans, understanding ourselves, understanding our soul's journey, then we can use that structure to identify stages of spiritual development, or different states of mind and kinds of levels of seeing. Understanding being the third hypothesis, belief being the fourth, and there are 9 in Parmenides, 10 if we include the pathologos. And the question that we are carrying, because not only let me finish that thought first, is maybe there is an 11th and 12th hypothesis we can add. Why is that? Because just as we can use the dialectic to nail down the different kinds of ways of being or states of mind we move through, we can also use a different map from Zen Buddhism, the 10 ox herding pictures, that talk about what it feels like to go through those stages. So while the dialectic is a purely rational account of all of the stages, we need to move through them to remove our sadness and reach our happiness. So as someone goes through those stages, there are degrees or stages within each level, stages of development within each stage of development. So in stage A, well, moving out of belief, there might be a couple of ox herding pictures, maybe the first 2. And getting a glimpse of something non-physical, the source. And there are lots of different ways of getting that glimpse. It could be a source of the pure self, or the luminous state of being of mind. 2 kinds of source, self and mind. Both are out of time in different kinds of ways, but both are immediately available because they exist within the gap between each moment, that gap through which intelligence informs the next creation of the next flash or frame of reality, creating it intelligently, not only intelligently, but caringly, because it maintains all of our learning through our development in our life and multiple reincarnations. Keeping our level of development or learning in mind, as well as communicating to us what we need to see to develop. So, intelligence and care. Good heart, good head, we say. So a glimpse into that intelligibility that's being communicated to us, that our problems are solvable, that's the pathologos, through understanding the pathologos, and B, our excellence and higher states of being and development are understandable, that's the logos. There's our 2, pathologos and logos. That is a kind of glimpse. So, whether you're glimpsing the self, the highest idea, or the single God, if you want to use that fancy word, sometimes it's better not to, because of all of the different beliefs attached to God from religion, but there you go. The highest divine. Whether it's a glimpse into its functioning or manifestation, mind, pure intelligence, or because there are many intelligences within mind. This is all what we've been reading last time. As a recap, the many intelligences, or eidos, the gods, because as we've been learning, true theology is a mythological or analogical representation of all of those intelligences that all live together within intelligence itself. So whether it's a glimpse into self, God, or the selves, mind, both of which are a kind of source, or a glimpse in how it functions in each moment, understanding, providence, intelligence, and care. It's a glimpse into the first, second, or third hypothesis, the three aspects or the triad or threesome of self, which we want. Don't you want to know the self? Don't you want to be yourself? Don't you want to have the highest kind of intelligence to function most intelligently, both to know yourself and to function towards others? And by the way, don't you want to function skillfully using that knowledge of self and intelligence to act in a good way towards yourself, the world, people you care about? 1, 2, 3. Self, mind, and understanding, which can be understood themselves. Each of those stages of reality or stages of development can be moving through the hypotheses, and each of them can be understood, each one of those hypotheses in the Parmenides. And thankfully, only over the last 20 years have we been able to actually read it, because now we have for the first time a good translation in English, the One Balboa translation. You can find a copy online. You can go to this channel where we reread the introduction and the first hypothesis together on this channel. Find it on YouTube, link below. So while we can understand them, we have more of a breakdown of what it's like to go from a glimpse into any one of those to a further development. Because what happens with any insight or understanding? The counterattack. Why? Because it's logos and pathologos, baby. It's both. Can't do one without the other. You can't reach your highest goals of self, mind, and understanding without addressing your false idea of self, your false state of mind, and your false beliefs functioning. You can't do one without the other. You can't simultaneously know the self and hold on to an identity with a limited self. You can't master the logos without mastering and addressing and removing your pathologos. Equally so, you can't surface your false beliefs about self if you aren't aiming for the self. If you're not seeking your most personally meaningful self goals, personally meaningful goals, which culminates into, or is essentially about, the logos. If you're not, therefore, seeking self-mastery of the self-logos, you won't be doing what you need to do to surface the blocks to your meaningful goals. So it has to be the both together. So as you do that, you surface both, giving us a development of the oxherding pictures. The first two, of course, ignorance, but 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, we haven't read 10 yet, but I'm guessing 10. All what it's like for a person to get a glimpse, go through with the kind of counterattack, continue in the game of philosophy, logos and pathologos, reading and reflecting on both what you're reading and the blocks that come up. The activity of that kind of reflection is called the dialectic, with the dialectician. But starting to have some success in the fifth oxherding picture. Glimpse, third, glimpsing the ox. 4, catching the ox, your counterattacks. 5, having some success, taming the ox. 6, being able to function as a dialectician yourself, having some level of mastery of the dialectic that you can use it to benefit yourselves and those who are in the game, those who are interested in learning. Hey, what if you complete What if you address and remove your pathologos idea of self? Seventh oxidizing picture. No longer needing the method, which is called hold. Seventh, excuse me. Ox forgotten, self alone, or the bull transcended. Bull is resting. Whip and rope are in the house, hung, not need to be used. As we wait, as we see the clouds of our pathologos ignorance parting and the light reflected from the moon shining through. Having been freed from our false beliefs of self and false identity, we are free to what? Experience the truth of mind. Number 8. The bull and self transcended. Or the rope, the person, and the ox merging as a oneness in some kind of luminous, raging fire that not even a snowflake, not even a speck of your false self can exist, because here you are experiencing self directly. Mind minding mind. Or the second hypothesis, being. You can't be experiencing the truth of being or experiencing yourself properly if you are carrying a false idea of self. Therefore, not even the 1,000 eyes of 500 Buddhas and patriarchs can discern a specific quality or feeling or image or identity of your pathologos being present. But as we're seeing, mind has to have a cause. Even that has to have a cause. The first hypothesis, the 9th oxidizing picture, which is reaching the source. And there's of course a puzzle in there. You might as well have been blind and deaf from the beginning. Why go through all of those struggles? To learn how to read the way we're doing here. To discover there's a structure to understanding the dialectic. Takes time, takes reading and reflection. And to continue in the game takes courage and character that you develop. And then to discover that the dialectic is something you can participate in to perfect your reading and solve the puzzle of your problems. So there's a relationship of the dialectic that you engage in. Looking for a dialectician. Demonstrating that you're genuine in your search to understand or to remove your ignorance. And then everything that's involved in going through the dialectic. Struggling with the ox, taming the ox, becoming a dialectician yourself. Why go through all that only to return to the source? What's the point? And hey, if you're just hanging out, seated alone in your hut, not hankering for things outside, as they go through their changes and development, not only might as well have been blind and deaf from the beginning, but you might as well be blind and deaf now if you're just hanging out alone in your hut. So interesting that the 9th oxidizing picture, the second last one, which seems to be the first hypothesis, has a kind of puzzle to be solved or a problem inherent. So all of this, understanding all of the different kinds of ways of thinking humans can have in the 9 or 10 hypotheses, understanding the nature of human problems, false belief, the 4th hypothesis, and any kind of version of that blocks your development, the 10th hypothesis, the pathologos image of the self that is in opposition to the true self and its self-logos, so we can understand all the possible ways of thinking, states of mind, cultures, religions that come and go through all of history and all possible universes through the hypotheses. Using the hypotheses to understand the ox-herding pictures, we can equally have a map for what it's like to go through said development. And we can nail down the purpose, the meaning of life, as a single activity that's required for understanding and purification. So we can identify the basic two things we're here to do: master the logos and free ourselves from the pathologos. But those two activities are done by the same activity. Those two jobs are done by the same activity, the dialectic, which we're learning how to do as we read. And what we're reading about is also instruction on how to do the dialectic. Notice, it's not telling us, it's giving us the puzzles that we can solve to see this for ourselves, because dialectic ain't belief. It's something you see for yourself, meaning you have to be an active reader and reflector, Apollo and Aphrodite. So isn't that neat? Hang on a second, we're not done yet. Given that our greatest activity is to read these texts that reflect the logos in this way. And in learning how to read, we discover that we have blocks that come up. So we are discovering for ourselves and verifying for ourselves the logos and pathologos are the two things we're here to master. And that mastery comes through the single art of the dialectic. Therefore, the greatest activity, the art above all arts, or the archetype for all arts, if all other things like music, for example, follow the same structure, the dialectic, if that's the case, then wouldn't we be interested in the greatest kind of dialectician that knows not just about the logos and pathologos, but knows specifically about you and your own personal level of reading and your own personal blocks that are coming up to block you in your life, and know all about how that same level of vision of the logos, vision and understanding of the logos, and those pathologos blocks manifest in every area of your life, so it can communicate to you maybe what's most important for you to reflect on, or what's most urgent for you to reflect on, especially if it can anticipate or see the future. So not only knows the logos and pathologos, but knows your own self stage of development and what's most important for you yourself. Wouldn't that be the kind of dialectician we would want as the best? That we would seek if our greatest activity is to participate in the dialectic, and if our greatest functioning is to be a dialectician ourselves, wouldn't that be the kind of dialectician we would want to be ourselves? So therefore, the greatest ideal or excellence. And if our purpose requires us to set our highest, most meaningful goal, the highest kind of goal reached with the highest kind of excellence, would that kind of dialectician that we want to participate with, but also be like ourselves, wouldn't that be necessary in our own development, if excellence is necessary? So where is this dude? Where's this bro?
I think it's so awesome.
It might be awesome.
It's sad. And I'm sad for you.
And it's sad for us if we don't find it.
Do a poggers.
But it's poggers for us if we do. Hang on a second. What has Socrates been saying all the way through his own dialogues that we get from Plato, but also in this book here? The thing that sets the highest philosophers apart from all other ones is those that have seen the necessity. And the other word, notice I'm going back to the text to get the exact words. That's part of reading. To see the that dreams are not only important but essential in our spiritual life. What's that got to do with our conclusions? Haven't we seen that our purpose is to master the art of dialectic? And with excellence, we benefit by participating with the greatest kind of dialectician in our own activity for our own purification of the pathologos and mastery of the logos from our reading. And if our highest functioning would be to help others and ride the ox, sixth ox-herding picture, then we want to find this dude as a model. Hang on a second, how does that fit with dreams? Perhaps the greatest dialectician who knows not only about your soul and your soul's development through reincarnation, your mind, current level of excellence or blocks of mind, but also yourself, both the image of yourself that blocks you and your true purpose, your highest self. Could dreams be something, or the dream maker be someone who knows all of those things and is communicating with you in a way that ticks all the boxes, gives you a text to read that you must apply the dialectic to unpack its puzzles and meaning, solve the video game in a way that benefits yourself in the higher way? Soul, mind, self. Reading, dialectic, dream analysis. Ticks all boxes. So therefore, we can upgrade the kinds of activities we are to engage in, or we can arrange them in a hierarchy. It's very important that we're reading, necessary. But also very important that we are, as a part of reading, doing the dialectic. And above that one, the best kind of reading with the best kind of dialectic, or that facilitates the best kind of dialectic, dreams. 1, 2, 3. Interesting. So the dream master seems to be incorporating those three aspects or triad or threesome of the self. The first hypothesis, the second and the third. Our ideal state of self. Self, mind, or being, and soul. Providential functioning, understanding. Wow. So are we seeing the importance and essential nature of dreams? And that we can only benefit in those kinds of ways if we are reading or understanding without interpretation, i.e. dialectic. How interesting for us. By the way, this kind of pursuit, or true philosophers who are the ones who are open to enlightenment, through dreams not only reach that receptacle or source of truth, pure and also brilliant and divine, but it's through a practice of philosophy, so we can practice what we're learning about a philosophy to our dreams. So learning the dialectic, learning about the logos, learning about the separation of interpretation from reading, which is the separating of pathologos from logos, is neat. But don't you want to apply it to something, to test it, to see how good your dialectic is, to see how good your reading is? And also have those greater states of being, like the ox-herding pictures or hypotheses? Therefore, you get an opportunity. You get a pop quiz every single night. Dreams give you a way of practicing what you're learning about philosophy or about self. So Socrates says these are the people I want to hang out with. Not just the people reading, which is great. Not just the people reflecting on their reading through the dialectic, which is even better. but those who are able to apply it to their own dreams, the most significant and meaningful application of what you're learning from your reading and your practice. So Socrates says, those are the bros I want to make my homies.
You have the brain of a child if you think that.
And if you think that, you have a brain of a child because you're full of whimsy.
Where's the joy? Where's the whimsy? Where's the childlike wonder, dude?
See?
She's a moron. She's a bonked on the head individual, BHI.
I coined that.
No, she's not.
That's anti-feminist in some way.
In some ways, anti-feminist to say such a thing about being a bonked on the head individual, a BHI.
Die mad about it, bitch.
Yes. So that's where we are. We have been reading Socrates give his personal account of how he got into this game, how he even discovered that there is such a thing as the logos that you can read about. Music inspired him. A reflection of that intelligible pattern in music that made him curious, inspired him. Going through the learning, the reading, meeting Parmenides as one of those dialecticians we hunt for once we've read enough about it to recognize that this is the game. That's the place you want to be. Learning the dialectic himself, which opened him up to his own dream analysis, and then having recognized that, seeing, oh my goodness, those are the sorts of people I want to be homies with, because that's the true practice of philosophy. Pretty awesome. But hey, we've got more to read. So that's where we are. All right, so we've reached the level where we have seen for ourselves why Socrates wants to be homies with people who are continuously doing study of their dreams without interpretation, and seeing why both Jesus and Socrates are concluding that it's those who have reached the seeing of why dreams are essential for your spiritual growth. Why Jesus and Socrates are saying that these philosophers stand apart from all others. My world is on the brink of self-actualization. Wow, hooray.
Cool as a cuke.
Just looking up fringe ideas to come up with a synopsis of what the F is going on. Ooh. Well, if you want to look anywhere, I suggest this book. The book that bangs the most. I guess these ideas could be considered fringe, in that the difficulty that we are seeing from the text is, it's an old problem, says Socrates. If you want to make a teaching private or fringe or esoteric, so it can earn the title of being esoteric, all you have to do is state it clearly and simply, and you will find no one gets it. So, while we have come to some fantastic conclusions about the meaning of life, the activity we're here to master, its dual application into the logos and pathologos, which is essential for solving human problems individually and collectively, and reaching human excellence individually and collectively, and all of that insight leads to the highest application or practice of that as dream analysis. There are still 50,000 Asmongold followers and 50,000 Hassan Piker followers on Twitch who are not following this Twitch stream. Oh, and we shake our fists at them. Oh, and we say,
Oh, fuck.
we say, ah, fuck. And we say,
This is why I love this channel, man.
well, some people love the channel. And those are the best of all of the noodles.
Do a poggers.
And we do a poggers for those people. So, said simply and clearly, but of course that's one of the puzzles of the book. What are all of the different ways people respond negatively to a new truth? So far we have 8 kinds, which makes us wonder, can we do a dialectic or apply the dialectic to learn all of the different kinds of interpretation to truth that people have? And we've got a bunch of examples of them as well. So we've still got a little bit to read, so maybe we'll end up with that. A dialectical structure and understanding of all of the ways people respond negatively or through some kind of interpretation of a new truth as it's being introduced. Now, that's still okay, because this rejection to new truth is universal, because we're here to do two things: address the pathologos. You can't just learn something new. Never works. You can't just learn something new. You'll learn it poorly, you won't be able to integrate it, you won't be able to master it. You'll be blocked at some level because you necessarily have to address your pathologos. And if you do have some success, that could be a double-edged sword. People who end up with some success, power, or wealth now have some sort of ability to play out their pathologos, ignorance, and injustice with impunity. Just look at the Epstein class, the ruling class, the billionaires, the politicians, and the religious officials, all of whom operate through belief, and all of whom actively spend their life sabotaging and blocking understanding of themselves and others so they can manipulate others. They all have some ability to play out their pathologos, ignorance, and injustice with impunity. By the way, where do we get our personal pathologos from? Parents. How come? Because we're stuck in a goddamn house with these SOBs who get to cosplay the king priest, and not just king priest, they have all the money too, so they can cosplay the king priest CEO of the family. And as a 4-year-old or 3-year-old or 2-year-old, it's very difficult to clap back with facts when they have all the money, they have all the power, and they pretend to speak for God. Every human being has to face this at this stage of human evolution. Therefore, necessarily, dream analysis as the highest application of the dialectic to surface what were those conclusions you made from those childhood experiences that are sabotaging your life, causing your problems, manifesting as your injustices that will negatively affect your life here and after you die, both in what you experience when you die, but also your reincarnation. Therefore, dream analysis is essential for human beings. Stated simply and clearly, meaning no one will get it. But we'll keep trying. But also, as we've been reading, the last thing we read last time was, not only is it essential for all human beings, so a kind of moral and ethical imperative for being a human being, for yourself and for the collective, but dreams don't just visit us philosophers, the best of all noodles, the best beans, but all mankind are visited by pure intelligence and God, the source of intelligence, pure intelligence, mind, being, second hypothesis, and God, the self, the highest term, that within which everything unfolds and returns, the first and final cause, from the self, in the self, and returning to the self. The self and pure intelligence communicates through dreams to all of us. So not only is it essential and necessary for anyone who wants to learn, anyone who wants to overcome their problems, anyone who wants to live a good life here and benefit themselves and others, but also anyone who wants to prepare for in a positive way when they had their own death and their future reincarnations, which I'm pretty sure every single human being falls into that list, because by definition, we all seek to understand ourselves, we all seek our happiness, and we all don't like suffering. Thankfully, the highest practice of philosophy, which is also the true mystic art, so mysticism or spirituality is also the same practice of true philosophy, is open to all of us because self and mind communicates to all of us every single night when we dream. So not only essential, morally, ethically, and definitionally, but everyone can play. Meaning, a way of being where we can develop our own love of understanding, philodianoia, and benefit through dream analysis. And reminder, true philosophy was talked about. So making dreams the mean term, or the way we can participate in understanding for our purpose to transition from the fourth hypothesis, belief-based thinking, to the third. That's the game. That's the purpose. That's the method. It's just that simple. In the chat, the fringe idea I'm looking for is very Terminator. Ooh. Come with me if you want to live. Show me your leadership capabilities. That's my Arnold Schwarzenegger. That may lead one to believe that maybe Ted Kaczynski was onto something. Who's Ted Kaczynski? I feel like I should know that name. So, beliefs, of course, pathologos. That's what manipulates us into this or that cult, be it a business cult, a political cult, or a spiritual cult. In particular, the right wing in politics, religion for spirituality, and capitalism for society. So once somebody is recognized they're in such a problem, then you'd have to direct them through the dialectic, specifically dream analysis, to find why Ted, or I don't know who this guy is, but Ted seemed believable. Why did he seem just, good, true? You must be carrying a false idea about it that prevented your own development. Pretty crazy, right? I don't know, just contemplating on it, but some sense of my mind is blown. Ted is the Unabomber that happened to us in the 90s. Interesting. Well, it's the same principle. The better you understand the nature of the pathologos and the logos, the better you can understand all of its variations. Now, we have seen that that there is a basic map, again using the dialectic, or we didn't know he was using the dialectic, but by unpacking it through the dialectic, we can understand there's that same 4 parts with the highest standing above, just like the 4 hypotheses, 2, 3, 4, and 5. There's our knowledge, understanding, belief, and materialism. And the first hypothesis, the one self standing above, we can apply that to different ways of organizing this. I can share on your Discord if you're interested. Well, I'm not really interested, because what we are doing is understanding all human problems. So if you understand this, then you could read anyone's work, Ted or anybody's. See, okay, using this model of the logos, these hypotheses, I can determine at what level he's functioning in. I can judge his vision and understanding of the truth, but also I can identify his pathologos, the kinds of idiosyncrasies or the particularities of his personal language that reflect his family clan way of being. And if you want to know why he got interested in this or that movement, what was his conditions growing up? Because we inherit it from the origin scene in our family. So if Ted reached out and said, I'm genuinely interested in finding the truth about self and reality and purifying my own false beliefs, then the sort of learning we're doing on this channel will allow you to do that with him. The difficulty is, as we've been saying, if you don't stay in the game, then you might find yourself having some level of success, like Ted or anyone else who starts a little bit of a group or gets a bit of money. So you can use that money or political power or wealth or manipulation of religious believers. Usually, religion targets the most poorest and vulnerable and ignorant of the society. So you can scam them by saying, I speak for Jesus, to give you an opportunity to play out your false pathologos to your own destruction and to the harm of those around you. Which is why the idea that the most sociopathic people in society should have all the wealth, capitalism, is the exact opposite of justice. It's insane, it's absurd, it's injustice. Equally so, why, again, the most unjust people, religious authorities, who try and block the logos and venerate the pathologos to get money, not just money, they do all sorts of horrible things to people. They shouldn't have all the money and power. They shouldn't be allowed to lie to the people. Same thing, speaking of lying to people, so too politicians should not own the media companies and lie to the people to get them to act against their own interests, the logos and dialectic, and venerate, praise, oh, you're so good because you're racist. You're so good because you're a white Christian man. Praising and venerating the pathologos principles. You're good because you happen to be born into the right family. Your religion's the right one. Your parents were the best parents. Your false idea of justice and knowing is the best. That's all they do. Whether it's a religious person, a salesperson in capitalism, they agree with all of your bullshit ignorance because they know they can fuck with you. That's why all of the Trump MAGA supporters are all ignorant and usually religious. And they're giving away their will and wealth for an opportunity to cosplay the knower. I can be smug and cruel, which is all belief can do. You can't actually be knowing, that requires knowledge and understanding. And you can't actually benefit, that requires knowledge and understanding, and it's functioning to benefit not you but the subject. They don't care about other people. Smug and cruel. The way of being of truth and knowledge and or certainty of believers. Looking up the pathologos. Pathos is a different thing. Pathologos, it means sick logos, specifically the fundamental false idea of self, and as we just said, what it means to be good, knowing, loving, that we get from childhood, that we identify with in our whole lives. Our self-image becomes a representation of that, the mask. We identify with it more and more through our life. It's the cause of all our problems, but also it keeps us in a script like a zombie. In other words, everything that you think is your reasoning, all of your arguments and justifications are bullshit. They are all anything that serves your actual goal and motivation, your pathologos goal. Ever talk to a religious person? Ever tried to help them reason through the arguments? It never works. Never works, because the reasoning isn't how they function. Pathologos means there is a goal. I want to be a smug, cruel knower, or my own family version of that. And any reasoning is just an opportunity to justify that. That's punishment, clip chimping. For example, Netanyahu wants to murder hundreds of thousands of Palestinians and take all their shit. So what does he do? Manufactures a justification. Oh, you were wrong. Look at this that happened. You weren't a perfect victim of our tyranny. By the way, who sent in Hamas? Who organized Hamas? Who paid for Hamas? Could it have been Netanyahu himself? Because everything these tyrants do is to create the situation that justifies the fake arguments to justify their end goal. That's how come humans are savages. Why would you vote for religion or capitalism or right-wing politics? All of them are harming you. Because we're savagely loyal to our own conclusion, and all evidence and reasoning is just some scam that we think we are following. There's a kind of clip chimping or a justification of the outcome. Self-fulfilling prophecy. That's the human condition. Our job is to set a meaningful goal with excellence so that we can recognize when that NPC script kicks in. And because we care about our true goal so much, we're willing to address our NPC script that comes from the pathologos, has at its source the first and final cause a false image of yourself. It's the first cause because it's the cause of your way of being, the state of mind, your role that you play within the family and society, causes your activity of interpretation, not understanding, leading you to be closed-minded, certain in your beliefs, stuck in your anti-self, blocked from the self-logos, fearing understanding. Now that first image of yourself, the pathologos, is also the final cause, because if you have this state of mind, not true being, not true state of mind, not true intelligence, but your family way of being, you have this role, not your true role, self-logos functioning as the dialectician in dream analysis, not your true role, but whatever role it is in your family. And your activity is not to do dream analysis by seeing and following the self-logos that we learn from reading and practice in the dialectic applied to dream analysis. Not that activity, our purpose, everyone's purpose. No, some other game, some other bullshit. And not to see what's there, but to interpret, to leave out what is there and to add in what isn't there. All of that's in service for justifying the false belief of self that you already have, but you don't know you have. That's why we have to surface its footprints, its clues. You have to see the footprints of the ox before you can go through the ox herding pictures to catch the ox. Catch the ox, to tame the ox, to ride the ox. You don't even know there is an ox. That's a belief. You think it's real. Of course I know what I am. Of course I know what reality is. Of course I know what I should do in the world. You don't. No one does. Yet. Our job is to learn what our highest goal is through this kind of reading, ideally inspired by something else that represents something ordered, harmonious, intelligible, like music, to let us know, hang on a second, there might be footprints. What's the footprints of the ox or the footprints of the mind? The logos. There is an understandability. You can solve problems and reach your excellence. There's a purpose for you being here. There's a meaning for your life. Only then can we keep an eye out for that ox we don't know we have, but only when we pursue our highest goal do we surface our blocks. The negative self-talk, the negative states of mind, the fantasies that come up to distract us, the other images or thoughts that tell us do something else. And most importantly, the dreams reflect our entire life drama. The dreams give us guidance on what our true goal actually is and how to master that. That's the logos. And also what our false goal, our self-fulfilling prophecy that keeps us in a perpetual cycle of problems in an NPC script, the pathologos idea of the self is as well, making dream analysis the highest activity we can engage in, not only because it is the guide or guru for your goal and your purification of your problems, but it gives you a kind of text, gives you a dream that you can practice your reading in, that you are learning from these channels. We're learning how to read. And by the way, you're not only learning how to read the text, you can help your friends read their dreams and practice your highest art or the activity cause, the instrumental cause, your highest functioning as a dialectician to help others reflect on their own reading of their dream. So there you have the reading that we do on this channel, the dialectic that it's pointing to, like Socrates leading Jesus through a dialectic. Socrates, an example of a master of the dialectic. To reach the self, to reach their highest self goals. Ticking all three boxes: reading, soul, dialectic, the true use of mind, and the true goal, to know the self and to purify our ignorance. See, dreams tick all boxes. Therefore, dream analysis is how you practice philosophy. You learn about it in the reading that we're doing here, and you practice it through a dialectical reflection on the puzzles that come up to create answers through the dialectic. And the greatest practice of that is to new texts every dream you get. Therefore, our goal is to be like a dream master, to look at anyone, Ted Bundy or Krasinski, Donald Trump, Netanyahu, Socrates, Jesus, Sneesius, who we're reading, Enion, Plato, Plotinus, Proclus, Homer, hopefully soon, now that we're finally, after more than 2,000 years, we're finally getting a translation of Homer that's accurate, so we can finally read the Odyssey and Iliad for the first time. That's exciting. Any of these people with this level of functioning of self, God, source, through actual mind, not your pathologos state of mind. Everyone in my family's like this. Oh, bloody women. Ha 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 ha. Smug and cruel. No, none of that crap. I'm just creating an example. I saw a video today of some MAGA parent trying to talk to his children, and their children trying to get him to engage in reason, but he doesn't. He never will, because he likes being smug and cruel. He's an ignorant jerk. But MAGA allows all the ignorant jerks to appear superior, cosplay the Noah. So, through dream analysis, we can become like the author, the dream maker, have our own knowledge of self and recognition of the pathologos, false idea of self. That's the cause of our problems. So, to function yourself, oh no, my pen doesn't work. Should I risk it? Let's see if this fixes it. No. Oh no. Alright, I'm gonna have to use the mouse. God damn it. Self, through your own pure intelligence, mind, or being, relating through understanding to benefit all souls, which is the logos. All of this is the logos, the inherent self-logos, or the intelligibility of self that's inherent, the highest experience of self-logos in mind, and it's functioning through understanding. That's the logos. The pathologos is its opposite, its doppelganger, distorted reflection. The pathologos image of self people have and identify with, and they don't even know they have it because it was never put into words, because it wasn't a true enlightenment experience we had in childhood, but a fake distortion. No words, no questions, it's the sabotage of your meaningful goals for loyalty within the clan. Pathologos idea of self, pathologos state of mind, and our pathologos functioning through belief and interpretation. Dreams know all of that. So therefore, the highest practice, or the highest expression and practice of philosophy and spirituality allows us to participate in a dialectician or guru who knows both sides of those, making us like it. So, you want to help Ted Bundy or anybody, or you want to understand any of them, do this. Do this. You can only understand and benefit to the level you've reached yourself. Therefore, practice dream analysis through the kind of reading we're doing here, learning about the dialectic, using it in the text to solve the puzzles of the text, using it on your dreams as your highest practice of philosophy, to go through the stages of development of the oxiding pictures and the hypotheses, so that you can then look down and say, oh, there's Ted Bundy, there's Donald Trump, there's Netanyahu, there's Socrates, there's Jesus, there's Plato. Isn't that interesting? By the way, that's all you do in the 9th oxiding picture. You just watch. giving us the puzzle of the ninth oxherding picture. You might as well be deaf and dumb if all you're doing is watching the unfolding, seeing as you've purified your pathologos and mastered the logos. There's their puzzle. Looking up the pathos, Google's gives me the various ideas of debate. Oof, the opposite of dialectic. Something which hurts people, harms people. Because what are you doing in debate? You're trying to win, not benefit. What are you doing? It's us versus them. What's that? Belief. Belief is us versus them. Christians versus Protestants. Republicans versus Democrats. What happens? People defend the ignorant beliefs they come in with, both sides, and they walk away more entrenched in the beliefs they've had to defend, and more fervently loyal to whatever bullshit they've had to defend in debate. Debate is modernism, which is the opposite of humanity and philosophy. It's fake philosophy. In the tradition of Aristotle, the materialist, kicked out of the academy, and Emperor Justinian, the guy who killed all the philosophers, banned understanding and instituted religion, faith, Christianity. The First and Second Reichs. Heard of the Third Reich? The marriage of materialist society and religion to oppress. So debates are shit. Don't do debates. Do dialectic. Or reflect on why debates were appealing to begin with. Debate winning either appeal to emotions. So we're not wanting to appeal to emotions, we're wanting to understand our states of mind. How does that state of mind, using the causes, how does that paradigmatic or state of mind function? What role do you play through your emotions? How does it function in your activities? How are you blind? Or how do you project what isn't there or a block from what is there? And how does that result? So if you follow the implications of their state of mind, you can see that it either leads to success or failure. That's why the person engaged in the dialectic has to have a personally meaningful goal. If they don't, they can take being a fascist bigot as a success. That's the issue. You can't make people learn. You can encourage them and invite them to learning so long as they have a personally meaningful goal. They want their development. So, the feelings to its functioning through an activity or role to a consequence. That's the dialectic. Definition, demonstration, division, conclusion. So the better you understand the dialectic, the better you understand the nature of states of mind. Now, once you've understood that until the conclusion or other back to self, they relate back to their state of mind as, I guess I was right all along, which debates do all the time. That's all they do. Then you can find the cause. So the next step is, once they are reflecting on their state of mind or feelings in a new kind of way, that's a new kind of ousia. Ousia is self-reflection. It's one of the two things we have as evolved beings. Ousia, the ability to reflect on ourselves, and logos, the ability to do so through understanding. So now they're reflecting on their feelings in a way they've never done before because their family never questioned it. Anytime you went against the family state of being or feelings, you were shut down in some kind of a way, all sorts. The religion you associate with and the political group you associate with, etc., never questions your state of mind or feelings. So this simple reflection on your feeling state, given that dialectical reflection you've helped them through because you've been mastering the dialectic yourself, awakens them to a new state of being, the second ox-herding picture. A new level of reflection. Now that they've seen that state of mind they loved and they never questioned is problematic. Then you can help them see through it. Can't reason through it because, as the oracle says, this one. Oh, god damn it, I've lost my soundboard. Hang on.
The problem is that you can't reason someone out of a position that they didn't reason themselves into.
You can't reason themselves out of that state of mind because they didn't reason themselves into it. Therefore, you have to use the dialectic in a new kind of way, not to see the implications of what they're doing. That's the first stage, truth, philosophy, the dialectic applied to truth. But now that they've seen it's a problem, you have to go backwards. Trace that state of mind back to when they first learnt it. The origin scene within their family. That use of the dialectic, reasoning, understanding, the use of the two faculties we have, ousia and logos, as conscious beings, applied to purifying the false in this kind of a way is called philosophical midwifery. Philosophical midwifery is the solving of puzzles, solving of problems, the pathologos. And it's solvable because it was a kind of solution to their family upbringing, the kind of state of mind, the kind of ways of being, roles, functionings in that family, taking the blame for their injustices was a kind of solution that allowed your survival within the tyranny of the way we live as babies currently, stuck in a fucking box with any old idiot pretending to be a Noah, pretending to be king, priest, CEO of the household. Pretty sick, but that's where we are. Meaning it's a solution that no longer applies. That's why it's causing a problem now, but it allows them to survive their upbringing. So that's the dialectic, the opposite of debate. Debate does the exact opposite, helping people get more entrenched in their pathologos by defending arguments that never got them there in the first place. And walking away, patting themselves, I was a good Jew, I defended Judaism. I was a good Christian, I defended Jesus. I was a good capitalist. Really, I was a good Jones. I defended the Joneses' way of being. So as well-intentioned as people who are interested in debate are, it's the exact opposite of what actually helps people. But it's what we get taught in school, because just like capitalism with economy, religion with spirituality, fucking fascist politicians and the fascist right wing with politics, so too our modern educational system is in the same pathologos tradition. Because we killed Socrates. Thankfully, we can pick it up again. That's our job. Correct ourselves. So this is the stream. One appeals to emotions is the pathos, and the other logic is the logos. Right, so we're using pathologos in a different way. And the other on authority, which is ethos. Oh, I see. So these are debate terms. I get you. I'm referring to the etymology of the words. Right. So there's a special way of using those words within debate culture. So when you say pathologos, I'm thinking logical emotions. Right, no, it's not. The word pathos is sickness. Like pathology in medicine. Logos, well, understanding the logos is what we're here for. That's one of the great puzzles. It's the game. It's the method. The logos is the method. It's the path we walk. That's one aspect of the logos. It's intelligible. That's another aspect, which means it's experienceable directly in a non-physical, way. That's knowledge. The aspects of that model of knowledge is understanding. So it's also understanding. Understanding and knowledge together, wisdom. So it's the nature of wisdom. Also, wisdom is a virtue. Virtues are the things we practice along the way to stay in the game until we actually have it ourselves. It's not something innate, it's something like a training. So the virtue of wisdom is to follow the logos, even though everything in your body and your upbringing compels you to follow the pathologos. That's why you need courage. It's courage to do something new. But also for Socrates, he said, hey, the thing with courage is to preserve that courage is an understanding of the pathologos, to keep in mind the false belief about self and reality. The pathologos is the most dangerous condition in the soul that neither men nor gods want. So there's that and more to understanding the nature of logos. So pathologos specifically refers to the antithesis. It's a false image of yourself that's unsuspected, that you identify with, that becomes your mask, that you spend your whole life entrenching yourself in, as debates do, causing your suffering in this life, stuck in the problems without learning, and also your negative reincarnations, causing further and greater and more suffering in how you reincarnate, to suffer the implications of the injustices that you perpetrated because of your own pathologos you failed to address, which is the reason you were here, to address your pathologos and master the logos with that freedom. So there's all that and more with the understanding of the word logos and pathologos. Unsuspected false belief, that's the root cause of all problems. Pathologos. I mean, isn't the end of the goal to expand consciousness? Yeah, so consciousness of the self, knowing the self, through the self-logos, the source. Consciousness in terms of intelligence, that's mind, being. Again, the method is the self-logos. There's no use having a glimpse of pure intelligence if you go straight back to your problems. So that's usually what we refer to when we say consciousness, mind. But also it's functioning through understanding, the dialectic. So you can benefit, so you can integrate that pure consciousness of source, mind, and its source, self, knowing the self, functioning through pure intelligence, providentially through the dialectic or understanding. By the way, that's the logos. The self-logos is inherent to self, it's the intelligibility of divine luminosity or mind, and it's the method or structure and the parts of understanding. Self-logos, baby. Meaning you can't do any of that unless you're also surfacing and addressing your pathologos, which is the opposite of those things. False idea of the self, negative states of mind and ways of being, beliefs and interpretation instead of understanding and dialectic, debate. Gotta do both. You can't surface the negative unless you're seeking the positive. If you like being a debate bro, or a loyal Jew killing Palestinians, or a loyal Christian killing Muslims, or a loyal capitalist killing children to earn profits for the next quarter, if you're seeking that shit, you're not going to do anything except harm to yourself and others, and your soul's reincarnation. Therefore, seeking this mastery of the self-logos, the triad of self, the understood, you can understand each of these purely rationally with the first hypothesis of Parmenides, self, the second, mind or being, and the third, the providential intelligible functioning of the dialectic. Art, helping people, benefiting. First, second, and third hypotheses. You can understand what it's like to go through this seeking of development through the self-logos and addressing your pathologos through the oxiding pictures. That's what we've been doing. As you do that, you can see that, hang on a second, if our method is the third, dialectic, we better find the best doctor in town, the best doctor of the soul. Who's the best dialectician on the block? Now, ideally, not just a dialectician familiar with what you've been reading, not just a dialectician who has mastered the dialectic himself by purifying his own self pathologos and mastering the logos, but someone who knows about you personally, yourself, all through your life, your current life, your past, your present, and maybe even, if they have the ability to see into the future, maybe they'll be an even more excellent dialectician. Wouldn't that be the person you'd want to speak to? Ticks all the boxes? By the way, if your job is, if you want to also reach your excellence, wouldn't you want to be that kind of master dialectician? Not just with the texts, not just through the dialectic and midwifery, but also knowing all selves and their developments, past, present, and future. So this kind of master dialectician is someone we want to track down and listen to and have a relationship with and be guided in our development with, but also to become like ourselves. Just like as we're reading this book, we're benefiting by learning all this shit that we've been talking about, but also by reading the text in this way without interpretation and our own personal beliefs and interests and motivations, by reading the book itself, we are raising our mind to the level of Socrates and the author. So too, by participating with this uber dialectician, we can learn to become like it ourselves as our model. What is the best dialectician that ticks all of these boxes, the triad of the self? That we can participate in ourselves in our best development and become like as our highest goal, functioning, purpose, destiny? The Dream Master. Our dreams do all that. Therefore, the highest practice we can engage in as human beings, the highest model of everything, spirituality, governance, leadership, any sort of leadership, whether you're leading a government or a society, whether you're leading souls through spirituality, whether you're leading material conditions in the economy, or you're leading minds through education. Dream Master is always the model. Therefore, in a just society, every person, whether you're at school, at work, wherever you are, everyone does dream analysis before morning tea time. Necessarily. As the dialectician is the master dialectician who, our dreams are our functioning or our practice. But also, we can practice our own reading, because to learn to read our dreams is the same as learning to read the text. So yeah. Wakefulness, yeah, so you're waking up to yourself, your intelligence, your functioning, your purpose, and the guide that's been with you all this time that you haven't been paying attention to, your dreams. By waking up to these new texts that have been buried by the church and the officials for 2,000 years that we are finally able to read in a good translation. So that's a revolution. So lots of different levels of waking up, and of course, the name of the channel is Waking Philosophy. Techno Will. I need to learn more about the periphetics, I think. I don't know what that word means. You have such a big word. Oh, and I don't have a soundboard. Fuck. Okay.
Absolutely sent to heaven, where she's seated at the right hand of the Father.
Oh my goodness. I can tell from that big word that you're using
My head is quite large and filled with secrets.
that your head is quite large and filled with secrets. Type it up. Peripateticus. Person who travels from place to place, especially a teacher who works in more than one school. An Aristotelian philosopher. Boo. Boo Aristotle. Oh, I can't press the button. This is what happens when my USB doesn't work. Boo Aristotle. And that's what we've been learning as well. We've been learning that we are in the tradition of Aristotle and Emperor Justinian, the church. Because, let's bring up our lineage that brings us to where we are. Here we go. Now this gives us another chance to celebrate that we have finally a actual translation of the actual terms. Imagine playing a video game, but all of the keys to all of the doors in the video game have been removed by the publisher of the game. You'd be stuck in the first screen. You couldn't play. That's philosophy up until now. All of the key words that you need to solve the puzzles and understand the puzzles to begin with, to find the questions and the answers, have been removed from our texts. Only now are we getting an actual translation of one of the first philosophical texts, Homer, the Odyssey. Xenophanes, we only have a small section of him. A quote, "It's the whole of something that's seeing, hearing, and thinking right now. It's one. So we want to know what's the whole of seeing, hearing, and thinking, and what kind of a one is it? This is a question we can carry, so hooray for Xenophanes." His student was Parmenides. Parmenides and Diotima both seem to be masters of the Logos. Taught Socrates. Socrates says, hey, by the way, this pure understanding of the Logos and its stages of development or evolution or spirituality that we get from Parmenides, its application of it to benefit individual souls we get from Diotima. You can't really get that level of mastery unless you're also looking at dreams. And that's where the game ended. We killed Socrates before he wrote about these things. Plato was only in his 20s. Good evening, Reeve. Plato lost the ability to address the pathologos, meaning everyone since the death of Socrates has been blocked. There have been some people who have been able to power through those blocks, like Plato, who was able to speak a lot about the dialectic, seemed to be able to reach the second hypothesis, or the 8th oxidizing picture. He started the first universities of the West. Other head teachers of the academy, Proclus, Plotinus, Damascius. Aristotle was a student of Plato, but of course he was blocked from even the philosophy. So he was into materialism. So that's why, by the way, Emperor Justinian came around in 529 AD, shut down the academy, murdered the philosophers, burnt the books, burnt the libraries, banned reading. If you were even carrying not just a philosophy book, the fucking Bible. You couldn't even read the Bible. That's how fucking oppressive this bastard was, and how oppressive religion is in general. Began the Dark Ages, where everything went to shit. That's why our modern education system is based on debate, violence, ignorance, not addressing the tremendous problems caused by wealth inequality and capitalism, pathologos applied to economy, not addressing the mass murder, genocide, injustices, oppression, child abuse caused by religion, pathologos applied to spirituality or the soul, not addressing all of the wars, tyranny, etc., from politics, most clearly exemplified in the right wing, the pathologos party. All of this is because our modern educational system is based on these two bros, Justinian fuckface McGee. Oh, I can't press that button. I've got to click it.
You sick fuck.
This sick fuck.
It's sad. And I'm sad for you.
Sad for you.
Calm your fucking kids.
Calm your tits, that guy. That's why you go to school, you got one professor professing the official teachings. Hey, if you want to read, one of the difficulties with sharing this with people is they think they know philosophy. They think they know what the Republic is. They don't fucking understand shit about the Republic. They don't know shit about Plato and Socrates. They don't even read the fucking book. They read some other jabroni's interpretation of the Republic based on these translations, which were shit to begin with. So this translator's got all of his ignorance and pathologos. These translators inject all their own pathologos, which adds what isn't there and leaves out most of the key words. You need the word ousia. It's a Greek word. If your text doesn't have the word ousia, you're not reading. If it doesn't have the word self, and they never translate the word self. They always translate it as it. One of the greatest problems, phronesis. I've never seen phronesis translated in anything other than the one Balboa translation. So, the professors profess the faith in front of the pulpit, modern education, and what's their profession? What's their beliefs? Materialism. Aristotle taught Alexander the Great and got him to collect flowers and rocks and things and put them all into categories, physical categories of the physical world. Therefore, physics and chemistry and botany, all of these divisions into separate specific little boxes, all based on the physical world, that's modernism. As one philosopher said, learning is torturing Mother Nature. Science, experiments, torture Mother Nature so she reveals her secrets. What are the billionaires doing? Torturing people, murdering people. What's Palestine? A fucking experimental ground where all of the big war machine companies test their new weapons. What's ICE doing? Kidnapping people off the street so they can be sent to torture prisons where all of these fucking CEO fucks and medical fucks are testing medicine and chips in their brain on human beings. It's all torture. Of course it is, because understanding and knowledge is needed to benefit. Belief can only hurt. That's why all of the fascists in ICE or in MAGA or in religions always have the same way of being. Smug, I'm better than you because I'm a Mormon, or I'm better than you because I'm Trumper. I'm better than you because I've got a gun and I can murder you with impunity, says the government in America. I'm better than you because I'm a Jew and you're a Palestinian, says the Israeli Jews. It's only smug and cruel, which believers take as what it means to be wise. It's always the same game. Pathologos can't reach the logos of knowing and understanding, so they take being smug and cruel as the mark of what it means to be a knower. That's their feeling state. Nothing to do with understanding. That's the third hypothesis. They're in the fourth. No understanding in believers. That's why it's fruitless to debate or reason with believers. They have to be encouraged to seek their own meaningful goals and realize for themselves their bullshit beliefs block them, and for them to master their goal, they need to learn understanding. That's a movement from the fourth hypothesis to the third. There's a map, there's a model of understanding human functioning and development. We get none of that because we're in the tradition of Aristotle and Justinian fuckface McGee.
I'm eating the testicles of this bull, and I'm eating it raw bull balls. This is raw buffalo balls.
So all of our YouTube videos and modern day podcasters and stuff telling you to eat bull testicles instead of you're eating the ox testicles instead of learning the ox herding pictures. I love that meme. Let me catch up with the chat. Techno Will. Ooh, we've got chatter on chatter dialogue happening. I feel like well, I can't use that fucking button. I want to restart my stream so I can have my buttons back. I have to click it in OBS. This one. I feel like a real streamer. Because I've got chatter to chatter dialogue happening in my chat room. That never happens. I don't normally have enough chatters for that.
Jesus Christ, Emma.
Don't argue with Emma.
That's anti-feminist in some way.
Exactly.
Wow.
Techno Will is already gone. Fuck, you're talking to me. I thought I was having chat on chat dialogue. You were talking to me. Boo.
Unbelievable sluts these days.
Oh my god, these days they're the worst. I'd imagine you're so into your work it's hard to keep chat off chat. But to grow as a channel, maybe you should be more receptive to us. What the fuck do you mean? I'm talking to you now. You can argue all you want. I'm not arguing, I'm explaining about determining our own dialectic. Right. So while the dialectic is a map or model that's universal for everyone, it's not an opinion. You can have your own way of employing it, your own character, your own charm, your own use of humor. I like to use sound drops.
Hey man, wouldn't some kind of future where people have all their whatever basic needs met of shelter, all this crap, and they could do whatever the hell they want, wouldn't that be good? No,
Yes.
it wouldn't.
It wouldn't.
I'm eating the testicles of this
Oh my
bull,
goodness.
and I'm eating it raw bull balls. This is
talking
raw
about-
buffalo balls.
Oh my goodness. Our own dialectic based on other dialectics. Yeah, you can create a whole bunch of dialectics. Like we've done a whole bunch of dialectics on why the dialectic is the art we're here to master. Like Socrates, as we are doing with you. But the thing about the dialectic is it's universal. Like if you're able to do a dialectic on whether beauty exists or whether justice exists, because it's true, it's understanding, it's objective, then you should be able to repeat it. Which means as we read the Socratic dialogues or this book here, or as we solve the puzzle pieces of the book we're reading to create our own dialectics, it should always work. So long as someone is open to follow along, anyone can use the same steps of the argument. Therefore, you can't put an end to the idea whether beauty exists, or whether reincarnation exists, or whether the meaning of life is to master the dialectic through reading and dream analysis. You can't stop that by murdering someone. In fact, that's why we're here. We are only here specifically because even after Socrates was murdered by the state, 2,000 years later, there was another bro, Pierre Grimes, who rediscovered philosophical midwifery for himself, allowing him to address his own by working with as a counselor with or a psychotherapist with alcoholics. Was able to cure alcoholism. Lots and lots more in his life, but did Zen Buddhism, fought the Nazis in World War II, lots of stuff. But he came to discover there is a dialectic, a universal objective structure of questions you can ask, guiding the answers of the interlocutor to gain an insight into his pathologos. He was able to apply it to himself to remove his false interpretations from texts to be able to learn how to read the texts. Meaning he rediscovered philosophical midwifery and was able to read Socrates and Plato in a way that no one has been able to do for 2,000 years. Rediscovering the pathologos and logos. And then later on in his life, he discovered for himself something that Socrates has been saying, dream analysis is the highest expression of that. So yeah, it's universal, it's objective. You can have your own style, but any particular dialectic you nail down, it should be, always applicable. So even if you kill Socrates, another one will spring up. Now, we had to live through the Dark Ages and tyranny and Nazis and MAGA instead of just fucking listening to the guy. But that's the human condition. We are firmly loyally entrenched in our fucking savage loyalty to our own personal ignorance because I like being a knower, like my daddy. And we defend our own prison wardens. My religion or my family, my parents. The other parents are wrong, of course. They're all different. So I'm going to put on my ice mask and murder the different kinds of people. But my family is special. The family curse. Achilles believed that. Becoming the worst person possible, and the Iliad shows the story of even the worst person who thinks theirs is the special family can become the best. So yeah. Objective, universal, but you have your own way of delivering it. Whether you use sound drops.
Why can't these guys shut up? Whether or not it's about Jesus.
Or whatever you do. I can't imagine your dialectic is any better than what has already come out. What the fuck does that mean? You can't imagine? What are you basing this on? What dialectics, what specific series of arguments that lead to a conclusion of truth do you like? What of the ones that we have created on this channel do you think falls short? And point out specifically why. Because there's another principle.
There's only two options at the end of an argument. One, you're wrong, but now you always get to be right about that topic going forward. So you get to learn something, which is always a plus. Or two, you're right and you get to revel in being right.
So either we can celebrate or revel in how wonderful that dialectic was, or if I was wrong, then you can lead me through a dialectic on that dialectic, so we can both understand where I missed the mark and I can learn something. That's why it's important to know the dialectic, so you can use it, so you can help people. Otherwise, your statement makes no sense. My dialectic isn't better than what's already come out? What? Did Blizzard release Dialectic 4.0? Dialectic is just how you talk. It's the structure of thinking itself. It's just thinking. So to say your thinking is not as good as other thinking, no, it's just thinking. You either think or you don't. If you're not thinking, then you are trapped in the pathologos. But that's okay. We all can be wrong sometimes.
I'm eating the testicles. It's better to come in the sink than to sink in the cum.
See, that's a kind of dialectic. Is it really? Is it really better to do one and not the other? If we had the oracle on stream, we could ask her to go through this dialectic with us so we can see for ourselves why one was better than the other. But yeah, that's the point. In our desire to master the dialectic, which is the self-logos, which is the skill of thinking, using ousia better, or ideally, with language, ideally, ousia and logos, so what makes us different from cabbages and caterpillars, it's our evolved capacity. We will have some level of the dialectic, like maybe you just know the 4 categories. That's fine. That's better than 99.99999% of the population who haven't even heard the word. What's even worse is the worst I've found are people who have had some education within the modern education system, which is anti-logos, which is Aristotle and Justinian the fuckface. So they've heard the word dialectic, but all of their education has been that it's bad because the dialectic is, and they have a complete misunderstanding of what it is. And they're also they've also told to ignore Socrates. The person who's reached the peak in everything since him has been garbage because we killed him. It's like saying, ignore Michael Jordan, learn basketball from these kindergarten basketballers. They're always going to double dribble. They never do a slam dunk. Oh, but Plato was an ancient. You should get into this guy that I know. What? That's stupid. But you don't understand why it's stupid, because the reason why they're the worst is because they're smug in their ignorance. They've often paid $50,000 for this education, which educates them against what's true. That's why we have this channel. That's why we have this map of where we are in the lineage. That's why we're nailing down the structure of the dialectic or understanding for ourselves. That's why we're learning to read for ourselves. You never ever read for yourself philosophy at school, because I don't know how to read. They always have, you never read the Republic, you read Frank's interpretation of the Republic. Who the fuck is Frank? Turns out Frank is some Christian, some like weird denomination of Christianity, some like, I don't know, Unitarian, postmodern Unitarian Protestant. So he's got all that bullshit, baked into his interpretation. But also, he hasn't done any of the work we've done, so he has no understanding of what he's talking about. It's like, if you were asked to translate a medical text with all of the medical terminology, and you have zero understanding of medicine, could you translate it? Of course not. That's why we're so excited about someone who's gone through a study of the logos, gone through dream analysis, gone through philosophical midwifery, and as well as learning ancient Greek. So we're finally, for the first time, getting an actual translation of the Odyssey from Homer. And that's why you've only been able to read Plato for the last 15 to 20 years. Because that's how long we've had a decent translation. So all modern philosophy is garbage. By definition, because they've got the wrong words. Like trying to play Resident Evil, and you have to get through the first gate to get into the mansion, and you need a key to get in, but the game designers haven't put the key in. He put in, instead of a key, he put in a diamond. Because his family loved diamonds growing up. He's like Elon Musk. All his wealth comes from diamond mines and slavery. Can't play. Now it sucks for people who consider themselves philosophers or paid $100,000 for a degree or even teach philosophy themselves. It really sucks for them because they're going to be the most entrenched. Just like it's hard to learn about the all the difference between Mark and Paul and Dionysius and John in the Bible if you're a Christian, because you've been taught never read the Bible. Just believe what your preacher or your parents say. It's belief. It's harder for them, but it's also the most important for them. But maybe that's part of it. Maybe the people most able to go through this kind of learning and develop the character of wisdom, courage, temperance, and justice, the virtues you practice along the way. Now they upgrade once you reach self and mind, but most of the time it's a practice. So maybe the people with the most difficulties have as part of their journey recognize they have the capacity to overcome the greatest adversity to go through the greatest kind of learning, like Achilles, who goes from, back to Homer, Achilles goes from the absolute worst to the best through philosophical midwifery and dream analysis. Therefore, if Socrates was killed by the state for disagreeing with their bullshit interpretation of Homer, and Homer was all about midwifery and dream analysis, you can see why Plato said, screw that, you killed my teacher for injustice, for not agreeing with religion, so fuck midwifery, fuck dream analysis. But that's the thing, that's the fifth hypothesis. The fifth hypothesis shows that if we all get raised in belief, and you suddenly realize that your Mormonism or your Judaism or your Islam was a whole crock of shit, a lot of people say, well, I'm an atheist. If that's what God is, then there's no God. That's the difficulty. You go from the fourth to the fifth. You're still suffering the effects of your beliefs. That's why midwifery is important. Just because these jabronis lied about God doesn't mean there's no God. Self, the first hypothesis, mind, intelligence, the second, the God and the gods. Just like if Trump lies about justice doesn't mean there's no actual paradigm of justice that the establishment left should fucking learn, because they're not coward bitches. Not standing up to the tyranny of ICE and Nazism. They're in the fifth. I guess there is no principle. Oh well, just stay quiet and sit in the back and enjoy my millions of dollars from lobbyists. That's Aristotle. Wait. Plato. Wait. Right, yes, Plato. If the official religions was a misinterpretation of Homer, once again, not everyone can read the book. Hand anyone a medical textbook and most of the population can't understand it. You have to have some sort of training. That's what we do here. Learn to read, learn the logos, learn the dialectic. So he says, like, well, fuck that. I'm going to give up on it. Give up on midwifery and dream analysis. But the thing is, you can't just give up on... If you had a shit mechanic and you said, well, I'm just going to give up on using a mechanic to fix my car, that's not the idea. You just need a better mechanic. Just like if you've been taken advantage of by jerks, and there are a lot of them, we all can be a jerk if we got a path of logos, then the idea is not to say, well, I give up on humanity. or they used their language and words to trick me, manipulating my beliefs. Therefore, I'm going to give up on words or understanding. Socrates says this in his last day in the Phaedo. He says, no, that's a dangerous position. It wasn't logos that was the problem, it's your lack of mastery of the logos. So just because the officials didn't understand Homer, Plato rejected it. So in some way, Plato is in the fifth. But the thing is, you can't just reject mechanical engineering if you had a bad mechanic. Meaning, if his student Aristotle has a problem that prevents his learning of the dialectic and going through their hypotheses and setting pictures, he's got a block. And Aristotle's very, very smart. Plato called him the brain. Moderns call him the philosopher, which tells you everything you need to know about where we are in our society. If the smartest also carries the most clever blocks, because that's his level of intelligence, it can manifest in being a great philosopher, following the logos, but it can also manifest as being what's the pathologos? It's being a great student to a bullshit teacher. There's a lot of potential for people who have the worst problems, like Achilles. So if Aristotle, being one of the most clever, that even a fucking genius like Plato called Aristotle the brain, you can imagine what kind of pathologos he must have. And if Plato rejects the literal way of solving human problems and blocks, the dialectic applied to problems, the midwifery, and doesn't see the necessity for dream analysis as a guide for that process, no dream analysis, no midwifery, no solving Aristotle's blocks. So we have this force of nature, Aristotle, that becomes the linchpin and the archetype, along with religious beliefs, for our modern educational system. Notice, how long have we had universities, but we still have fucking religions? Isn't that nuts? Why? Oh, because it's safe. We just talk about the physical world. Let religion pretend to be experts about the nature of soul, mind, society, intelligence, and the divine. Bullshit. If you need understanding and knowing for everything else, why do you draw a line at the soul, the most important? Because it doesn't challenge the opportunities for these fuckers to play out their pathologos with impunity to others. It's not me genociding the Palestinian children. It's not me abusing the children in the whatever. It's God. Prove it. I don't have to. It's belief. But we have evidence and reason that shows that it's harmful. But belief and faith is to reject evidence and reason and just make up any old bullshit. How is that allowed? Because modern education doesn't challenge it. The First and Second Reichs. Heard of the Third Reich? Wondered about the First and Second? The union of the church and the state. In opposition to intellectualism or understanding. Notice, recently there was a leak of the MAGA, the Nazi fascists who are killing people, torturing people, kidnapping people, murdering people in the streets, stealing all of the social services, etc., etc. The worst pathologos. They want to use their algorithms to find anyone who's, they said this is in their official doctrine, who are anti-capitalism, anti-religion, and anti-MAGA. They've said it. They've said it. We want people to be blindly obedient to priests, to the Republicans, and to CEOs. Pathologos, ignorance. From here. Nothing other than a rejection of understanding the dialectic and applying it to dream analysis and the text that we read. That's it. That's the game. We are facing in society the implications of rejecting the logos and an embracing of the pathologos. That's it. Debate over dialectic. Fortunately, we can turn it around. Because of this dude. This book, which gives us what we need to do a dialectic on the dialectic, realize you need philosophy, this reading, to get the truth. It's a dialectic. The truth itself of the dialectic, its highest functioning or application is in midwifery. You need dream analysis for both, and you also need to write your own books like this so you can share it. That's the dialectic of the dialectic. And it's because of this book that this guy wrote that we have us. That's you. Aren't you a handsome boy?
Absolutely gooped.
And sometimes you're gooped.
Oh my fuck.
Oh my fuck.
Absolutely sent to heaven where she's seated at the right hand of the Father.
What's that mean?
Die mad about it, bitch.
I don't mean to attack the fact that us populace has the attention span of goldfish. That is a difficulty. That's right. So I'm not the most entertaining or sexy. I don't get the Gooner audience that some streamers do.
I'm just asking for some Gooner men's skin. It just seems right. It just seems fair.
I'm not going to do Gooner streams.
You can be a Gooner.
No, I can't.
Be a reasonable Gooner.
I will not. I'm not as entertaining and funny
This is why I love this channel, man.
like Mr. Brown.
Jesus is gonna come down, wipe this place out. Who cares?
I don't have a crew or a team around me
I'm too pure.
like Miss Emma,
Do a poggers.
but she loves to do a poggers. Even though her Nazi moderators banned me from the Twitch chat for agreeing with Emma.
They're secretly turned freaks.
They're secretly freaks. But yeah, you're right. And that's the difficulty that came up in the book as well. We talked about the old problem. The old problem of sharing this is if you say it simply and clearly, you'll find no one gets it. So, you know, we do a lot of repetition. But yeah, it's I don't have all of the Twitch viewers that I deserve, but also entertain. Another problem that's come up in the book. The many out there seek only to be entertained and not taught. And once again, another section of the book talking about repetition. The many can only be entertained, not taught the mysteries. They don't seek to understand these sacred things. Either they stand in awe of them, and I guess that's the good kind of gooning. They see how good we're doing, and they say,
You can be a Gooner.
in awe.
It's better to hum in the sink than to sink in the cum.
Oh my goodness. Or they simply ignore them. So that has also come up in the book we're reading.
Everything this guy does is perfect and beautiful. And he's handsome.
Beautiful.
You know, I said it.
Oh, well, thank you for saying it. Try and meet you halfway. Well, that's what I'm doing with all of these wacky sound effects. How often can I talk about gooners?
I'm just asking for some Gooner men's skin. It just seems right. It just seems fair.
Maybe I should do a shirtless stream one day. I'll do a pool stream. Is that a thing? I won't do that.
You can be a Gooner.
No, I won't. I can't.
Absolutely gooped.
You'll be too absolutely gooped.
It's better to hum in the sink than to sink in the cum.
Oh my goodness.
I think it's so awesome.
No, that's not awesome. But hey, maybe that's your thing. Maybe that's your role. As a mean between me and the many, you can find a way of I don't know, finding an insight per stream and turning it into a YouTube short or something. Or, even better, whatever your art is. If there's an interest that you have, a way of expressing yourself creatively, especially if it is an understandable thing like music or painting or anything really, use your highest vision or insight or understanding from these streams in our reading together as a theme that you can express in your art. Meeting people halfway. Speaking of meeting people halfway, I also play music, so I have a music stream. That's one way of reaching out to people. It's not all about being so sexy that I am a rational gooner.
Be a reasonable gooner.
He.
I'm just asking for some gooner men's skin. It just seems right.
No.
It just seems fair.
No. Why is that fair?
It's better to come in the sink than to sink in the cum.
No, that's not a good reason.
Hey man, wouldn't some kind of future where people have all their whatever basic needs met of shelter, all this crap, and they could do whatever the hell they want, wouldn't that be good? No, it wouldn't.
It wouldn't.
Please end kink shaming on your show.
King shaming, Emma wants me to be a gooner as well.
You can be a gooner.
No. I'm working on lurking and going on break now. Amazing how long you took to reply to my last comment and interjecting before finishing my sentence, but whatever. What do you mean? What do you want? I'm not a fucking monkey. If you were in a philosophy stream like this, we're exploring ideas. So if you say something, I am going to take the time to respond to it. I think you could say, thank you for responding to my questions and ideas thoughtfully and in depth. Not, I wish you did it quicker so you could answer my next question poorly. I think the right word is thank you. And interjecting before finishing my sentence. Yeah, same idea. If you're bringing up terms or ideas early in the sentence that reflects what we're reading, it can be a springboard to reflect on. So I finish a sentence, but I also can address the first part of your sentence. There's no rule that says I have to read every single word before I comment to what I've read already. It's part of reading. Address the parts and the whole. For example, when you use the word pathos in regards to something else. Yeah, I know that the word pathos is used in a different kind of way in different contexts. I took that opportunity to express the difference. So notice, logos, just the dialectic. Logos, what's the same, what's the difference? Of pathologos and logos, which is worth pointing out. Then you went on to say that it has a specific application within a different whole. So part and whole. That's also true. The whole of which it was a part is debate. Therefore, it's worth pointing out the difference between debate and dialectic. Considering it's a fantastic analogy or illustration of the difference between modern education, philosophy, the sort of philosophers you see on YouTube who don't ever solve problems and only seem to make people more entrenched in their ignorance, and what would actually solve problems, the art of dialectic, which we don't see because no one's learning it, except for us, because you're the best noodles. You are the best of all of the Twitch people. Or YouTube. So don't be upset.
Kant would say some fucking bullshit.
Kant would say some bullshit. New chatter. Is the earth flat or what? I think the second part or what? That's what I'll take. Alex, lock me in for or what, please. Did I get it right? Did I win? Was it the second one? Or what? What do I win?
That one's perfect and exactly the case.
Oh, I did win. My soundboard told me I won. So yeah, good points. Short attention span. People often want to have responses in the way that they used to. Quick fire, short attention span, TikTok kind of thing. But you can do that. Because you're halfway between a normie and a philosopher. You're at some process in that development. I'm still waiting to hear back what I win for getting the answer right. Notice how quickly that dialogue ended with the other chatter. See, that's quickfire. Doesn't go anywhere, doesn't do anything. Pointless. Is the earth flat or what? I mean, it's fun, you have a bit of a joke. Doesn't go anywhere. Whereas if he learnt how to communicate his own ideas, he could explore what made you interested in this question. Even if it was just for fun, there's a reason why you made a joke about that and not something else. Maybe you're interested in, you're curious about why so many philosophers on YouTube talk about lies and propaganda to appeal to the beliefs of the many, even though they're the most ignorant and stupid. But they're also the most gullible, so they can scam money from them. We have the ability to reflect, ousia, and understand. And the best application of what we are reflecting and understanding is where we should put our attention. On what Trump is doing, on who Leonardo DiCaprio is dating, on what Asmongold is spewing out of his mold hole, or on the self, on these texts. So we could ask that question. What drew you to that? What made you curious? What's your curiosity? Now, I don't know if he's still here. If he wanted to, he could talk about what made him curious about that. And the next thing we would do is encourage him to organize his ideas. Definition. The idea you're curious about. Can you state your idea simply as a definition? This the idea itself in relation to itself. Just what's your idea in itself? Next, can you ask it as a question? Now you've gone from a statement of opinion that, we can argue with in a debate, or we can ignore if we don't already agree with it, but that's all it goes. That's as far as it goes. It doesn't go anywhere. But if it's a question, we can play together. It's a win-win-win-win-win. It's a
win-win-win-win-win. A win-win-win-win-win-win-win-win-win-win-win.
But also, he's perfecting his own art of understanding the dialectic. He's practicing asking questions. He's practicing arranging his thoughts in an order, just like music. Music has to arrange the notes in an order, or the chords in an order too, in a way that asks a question, leading from the verse to the bridge to the chorus. But ideally a question that will get people to reflect on it again in a new way and listen to it more than once, so you can get that Spotify revenue, or those delicious percentages of assent from the multiple listens. Now the thing with the question is, if we don't agree, if we're not on board with whatever his idea is about the Earth being flat, it's like, we're not with you. See, empathy. He's not just spouting catchphrases for laughs or trolls or for the lols. He's learning to connect with other souls who are also on the same stage or same process of development to understand self. I'm not with you, Mr. Team Psych. All right, I will give an example. That thing I've defined, I will talk about that self. Notice that subject I've defined. So this self is an upgrade. It's a level up. I'll talk about how it functions. I'll give an analogy, or I'll give an example. demonstration. By the way, and we will say that's great. We'll give you a round of applause for that thing. Now we'll encourage him to make it a question, because that allows us to say yep or nip, yay or nay. If we say yay, then he can go on to his next idea. I'm with you now. Therefore, if we're all in agreement that the world is flat, it would follow that what? Push the implication. Where does the idea go? That the media is lying to us. That there are no penguins in Antarctica, because they would all slip on the ice and fall off the edge. Therefore, the zoos that have penguins are engaged in cloning, which means they're trying to manufacture the P virus, like the T virus, but for penguins. Meaning, we need to fight Umbrella. See, these are the stages of reasoning that he can lead us through. If we were okay with an example. If we weren't, he would have to break it down into the kind of dialectic he can see that led him to the conclusion to begin with. Why are you convinced that Jesus is Lord? Or why are you convinced that the earth is flat? Why are you convinced that Trump can do no wrong? That demonstration or example we can break down into its components, other to other, or division. It's called division. So we've got definition, demonstration, division. Divided up into, which is another dialectic, so another mini dialectic. This, and then this, and then this, and then this, showing how this is necessary or beautiful or both, or its opposite. You follow these steps of reasoning. If you don't agree, leads to an absurdity. That's comedy, by the way, showing the absurdity and contradictions of what applies if you're not on board. Like ICE. Oh, so you have to agree with whatever some fucker in a mask and a gun tells you to do, no matter what they say. All right, so if they came up to your house and says, I want to kidnap and abuse your children, you have to just agree with them. Or they should be allowed to shoot you in the face. See the absurdities that follow? Now you can make comedy by saying, so when they go into a Subway shop and the person gives them cheese instead of no cheese, they should shoot him in the face? I don't know, that's not very funny, but you get the idea. Therefore, you can come to a synthesis, a kind of conclusion based on this argument that you can then apply back to the start, back to your first definition. Won't use red. Back to that first definition that we weren't on board with at the start because we couldn't see yet. That's analysis. Together, the fourth stage, conclusion. So we would encourage you to do a similar sort of thing, again with questions. Question here, and a question here. Can you synthesize a single idea? Can you bring it back to the start? Bringing us on board. He learns how to think, he learns how to reason, he's learning the skill and art he's here to learn. We are benefiting, it's a win-win. And I press the win-win button.
It's a win-win, 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 win-win.
It's a dialectic. Very different than a debate. Debate is just saying, I am sticking with this, and I'm going to prove it by owning you, or making you look stupid, or mocking you, or murdering you, genociding you, like the religions do, like the right-wing politicians do. like the CEOs do, making you homeless, making you starve to death. That proves I was right. That's why the pathologos and its applications into all the different systems in society can be understood as basically debate, which is the defense of your ignorant pathologos. And the way forward is understanding, which is the logos, which follows not debate, but the dialectic. And we have an opportunity to do that with anyone, so long as you want to play. But it's a win-win because you get to talk about what you're interested in, and you learn how to think, and you learn how to empathize with human beings and benefit human beings. And it will allow you to learn what you can apply to your own dreams, to go through your own spiritual evolution, your own personal growth. And it will improve your out-of-body experiences, and it will improve what happens to you when you die, and your reincarnation will be better. Or even better, you'll master the art and you won't have to reincarnate back into ignorance and injustice in this physical world. Go up. It's a win-win-win-win-win. So that's the gist of it. The gist of the dialectic verse debate. And where we are in the text is recognizing that the application of that dialectic structure that benefits us in all possible ways, as we've been saying, is the sorts of people Socrates wants to talk to. He's not interested in debate bros or people who want to eat the testicles of bulls because Joe Rogan tells them to.
I'm eating the testicles. I'm eating the testicles of this bull, and I'm eating it raw. I'm eating the testicles of this bull, and I'm eating it raw. Raw bull balls. This is raw buffalo balls.
Oh my goodness.
Fuck.
Oh, fuck.
You sick fuck.
That's sick for doing that. We don't have to do that. But, so he's not interested in those alpha podcast, red pill, Nazi bros. He wants to find people who have a kinship with their dreams. Why is that? As they practice, it allows us to practice the dialectic in our philosophy. The continuous study of dreams, continues Socrates, allows us to conjoin our imagination, whether we be wondering about whether the earth is flat, and our profound understanding, how do we arrange our imagination or ideas in that structure we just went through, conjoins our imagination and our most profound understanding. This awakens our divine character. We become like God and mind, or self and mind. But also awakens a new cognitive function called intuitive intelligence. Leveling up, which is a kind of functioning that happens through the eye of the soul. So as we see through our eyes and we hear through our ears, we have intuitive intelligence through the awakening of the eye of the soul, which also can be called ousia. It's called ousia in the Republic too, interestingly enough. So we can approach that. So approach, which means some stages of development, either the hypotheses or the oxiding pictures, so we can understand that map we follow. And experienced. We actually verify our understanding and our learning and our reading for ourselves by leveling up. He echoed that our own understanding that it is from God, singular, that the knowledge of dreams comes. So, self. He made it clear that the gods, so now is our many, or one self and beings. The gods were not independent floating beings, but pure intelligences, the aspects of intelligence itself, or being. So he saw that through dreams. So those who saw that through that dreams are the essential part of the art of divination. So as we've been saying, the ideal dialectician wouldn't be able to not only know your current problems, be able to walk you through its how it function through your past to the origin of the problem, but also can see into the future how it will play out if you stay stuck in your problem. So you can maybe focus on this thing and not this thing. Maybe this is more spiritually significant, maybe this is more urgent. Maybe this is more interesting, but this will have the more profound effect. All these sorts of decisions. Just like a doctor who prescribes medicine to a patient has to follow up. You have to prescribe the illness, prescribe a treatment, and do follow-ups. Also, the medicine that the doctor prescribes to the patient we have to look into the future. If you can't do a follow-up, what does the doctor do? Or if you're an alcoholic, or you're just getting over your alcoholism, he might look into the future and predict you will relapse, because people relapse 80% of the time. Or I'm just making that up, but the doctor better know the stats. So he won't prescribe the medicine that will function poorly in conjunction with alcohol. Yes, I see into the future to some level. For us to benefit souls and selves, this kind of ability to, or divination, or see the future would be essential for this mastery and excellence of the dialectic, like our dream maker. The art of divination. Right? I have to click on it.
All checks out.
Like, literally, suck my dick, dude.
Why can't these guys shut up? Whether or not it's about Jesus.
It's about Jesus. So, also, all mankind could be are visited by the pure intelligence of mind and by the source or God or self. Therefore, dreams come to us all, and they reveal a personal knowledge about our struggles. That's why it's the highest kind of dialectic. Not just a text we can apply the dialectic to. It's not just a something that we can function in a dialectic with a dialectician with for midwifery and philosophy, but it knows about it knows about our personal struggles and has a knowledge, reveals a personal knowledge about our struggles that we most desperately need to know. I should add that, like us, he held that it was entirely unnecessary to interpret dreams. So, the opposite of interpretation or debate, dialectic, giving us a practice. Dreams can become visible from the depth of their obscurity through the kind of reflection we know is the passageway to the divine. Therefore, the dialectic that we must apply to our dreams as the highest kind of spirituality and philosophy, that's our method to enlightenment and reach the sources of truth, both pure and divine, pure and brilliant, self and mind. The passageway, the dialectic. Dialectic's the game. Is it not quick and snappy like Corporal wanted? Well, maybe it isn't. Do we have to pay attention to each word? Yes, even if it annoys some people. Do we have to frame our responses in a way that's meaningful and rational and not snappy and just a yes or no answer? Well, we do. Do we have to encourage people to put more on what they say if they come into this chat and say, like Team Psych what Zero did, is the earth flat or what? Yeah, we have to encourage him to use more of his own cognitive capacity, sure. Do we benefit? Yes. Do we not want to do that because everything in our upbringing has told us to shut down people who do that? Don't give me a long answer. Answer me straight away. Do as I tell you. Don't lead the conversation. I'm the fucker in charge, not you. Yes, that's how we're trained to think. So the kind of negative opposition to a reasoned reflection on the chatters today is nothing other than an imitation of the same sorts of bullshit fed to our chatters from their own parents when they reasoned and reflected and took their time and considered and went at their own pace. So there's two questions. Why imitate the injustice you suffered? And number two, why were you triggered by that which benefits you? Why do you want a snappy bullshit response when you can just tune into Asmongold for that? He literally, I saw a video of him today saying, I never read what I just look at the headline and the image and I come up with my own bullshit opinions. It gets me 50,000 followers. It's quick, it's snappy. It agrees with the ignorance of my chatters, gets me that money. And why are you here? Or rather, that's not the question. If you can recognize that you were in a certain, to use your words, feeling state or state of mind that caused you to, let's go back to our map. You're in a certain state of mind paradigmatic cause that caused you to play a certain role. I'm in charge. I'm telling you what to do. It's not my stream, and you're the one with the skill and the art, but I want to be in charge. That role, not just that role, but there was a sort of functioning with that role. Your role was to sabotage the logos, shoot the person down, make him feel bad, get him to doubt himself. All of this shit was the functioning, and your role is based on its functioning or the functioning cause, the instrumental cause. Whether or not you know it, that's what you were doing. The activity cause from that functioning cause, from that state of mind, what was the activity? Not listening, not learning. What? Some sort of projection of your own injustices that was done unto you? Adding what wasn't there? Something you're carrying? Interpretation. How did that leave you? Did you get more certain in that state of mind and that bullshit interpretation, use of words, debate, bro shit? More stuck? More entrenched in the feelings and state of mind that you were in to begin with? And if you've recognized that, you're stuck in a loop of repeating the same blocks and not learning, or you're stuck in a loop of repeating the same bullshit injustice that your parents shoved on you when you tried to be rational, then you can wake up to the game. The game is recognizing that that way of being that keeps you blocked, that you can only see has kept you blocked in this kind of dialectic reflection, has itself a source. You don't know it. You have to be okay with not knowing. Step one, curious, open to learning, right?
There's only two options at the end of an argument. One, you're wrong, but now you always get to be right about that topic going forward, so you get to learn something, which is always a plus. Or two, you're right and you get to revel in being right. It's a win-win-win-win-win.
So win-win-win-win-win. So that's the game. If you are open and curious about why I'm in this pattern, and why I love this pattern, and why I feel like I want to be, fight, defend my ignorance, I want to be in charge, I know the better, I want to tell people what to do, then if you're curious about that and you find it doesn't help you reach your most meaningful goals, by the way, if your most meaningful goal is to shit on philosophers, it's not a problem. You'll do it very well. You're a fantastic student to a shitty teacher. If you're not willing to challenge your shitty teachers, no, my mummy and daddy were saints, and they knew everything, and they never did anything bad. And they learnt from their grandparents, and they were saints, and they learnt from their grandparents, and they were as wise as Socrates, my great-great-great-great-grandparents, all the way back to the cave. The early cavemen, they were brilliant and knew everything, so I should stay in that family tradition lineage. Then you can't learn if you're happy with that ignorance. That's why a personally meaningful goal is important. Stakes, they call it in drama. It needs to be a stakes for learning. If you have those stakes, because you've had that insight, you're reflecting on yourself in a new way, a new kind of usia, you can go on the hunt for the false image of yourself. That's the first cause. Look, first and final cause. The first cause is this image of yourself that gives you that state of mind and way of being, allows you to function in that role, You're not a chatter. You're doing something else when you try and take charge and try and shit on people, etc. The activity you have to engage in from that role is not seeing or dialectic, it's interpretation. And the result leaves you a kind of material cause unreceptive to learning. This certainty and closed-mindedness of your beliefs. Ever talk to a religious person or a MAGA? It's like playing chess with a pigeon. They knock over the pieces, shit on the board, and strut around like they won the game. It's easy to see in those simple analogies, but that's also the dialectic. An analogy applied to pigeons playing chess, same thing. Ever talk to a religious person? They act like an ass and they feel like they've won, but they're still a Jew or a Muslim or whatever the fuck. Protestant, Anglican, whatever the fuck. They all can't be right. They all act like they're right. There's a contradiction there, isn't there? So go from the many examples, apply it to the specific examples. That's also the dialectic. To the principle. Therefore, as a principle, if you're in that kind of a loop, whoever you are, it's easier to see with pigeons and religious people or MAGA people, but you also are in it yourself. We all are. It's human problems. It's a loop, self-fulfilling prophecy, or an NPC script, or a zombie virus. All great analogies. But because our problems are intelligible, because there is a root to that stuck, because of the way you're interpreting, because of the role that you are adopting, because of the feeling state or state of mind or way of being you were in. And even that has a cause, the first and final cause, the self-fulfilling prophecy, the false idea of yourself that you carry, that you don't even know you carry. And your whole life is a kind of negative dialectic to further entrench yourself in that. By the way, what's the name for a kind of functioning that allows you more entrenched with the ignorance you came in with? Debate. Therefore, for people who are not in true philosophy that we're doing here, and not in dream analysis, their whole life is a debate. Further entrenching themselves in their most fundamental ignorance, the image of the self that they got from childhood, and their whole life is just a playing out of that. All of the drama in the way. See, it's not rational. People are not rational in that sense. They're not following rational stages of arguments to truth, otherwise everyone would be in the stream, and not Asmongold's stream and Hassan Piker's stream. The reasoning that we have is secondary. We have the goal, which is the first and final cause, to justify this false image of ourself that has feeling state, role, functioning and conclusion, or functioning activity and conclusion. So everything in the way isn't motivating you. You're not motivated by reason and evidence. That's reading, that's philosophy. All of these are secondary to defend the goal. That's why whatever Trump does, it doesn't mean anything. They're always going to say Trump was right. Whatever your preacher does, it doesn't mean anything. They'll say their preacher, imam, rabbi was right. Doesn't matter whatever Elon Musk and Bezos does, this cucks and simps are always going to say he's right. That's human problems. That's the pathologos. That's why we read. That's why we have to have the highest goal. Because when we seek the highest goal, all of this shit surfaces. But you need the stakes. That's why when you see these right-wing politicians on the news, their goal is always the same: invade Venezuela and take all their shit. They never say the goal can change. That's never the question. They lie about their motivation because their reasoning is just a klimpchimping or a justification of the goal. They're not going to change the goal. Just like capitalism. They're never going to change the goal of capitalism because they're getting all the shit. They get to play out their pathologos ignorance and pretend to be a knower. Their justification, it breeds innovation, or people will be lazy if they're not our slaves, or people want slavery actually, it's human nature, or the blacks have bad brains, or children should work in diamond mines. All of this bullshit to justify capitalism is what they talk about because their job is to lie about the motivation but never ever address the goal. So we still have crime and we could solve crime. 90% is down to wealth inequality. Nope, prisons instead. Fines instead. Make the people who can't afford to live suffer even more by fining them. Pretty fucked, right? That's human problems. The justification or rationale is secondary to the real motivation, which is the goal, the first and final cause. What we do in this channel is learn how to read, which is the movement from interpretation to reading, allowing us to, in the activity of reading the texts, so we can learn the functioning of the dialectic according to the model of intelligence or mind, ultimately applied to dream analysis to know the self. First hypothesis, self. Second hypothesis, mind. Third hypothesis, the functioning of the dialectic in the activity of reading. Those three together. 5 causes. And as we've been saying, you can't do dialectic without purifying debate. Our false image of self, our false state of mind, our false functioning or role, and the false activity of interpretation on leading to a false closed-minded material cause and not open-minded and curious. That's the game. That's the whole thing. All of this is from the book because the book's a goddamn banger. Can you see why it's a banger? Every problem, government problems, society problems, religious problems, all human problems, even the problems with chatters, long-time chatters who have a block, or there's a reason why he was triggered. You have to be triggered. Don't feel bad about it. Be curious about it. The logos triggers the pathologos. Good. You're supposed to address the pathologos in midwifery and dream work. And a new chatter, one word, just a silly offhand comment, but still works. The difference between debate and dialectic. Difference between the negative dialectic on a false image of self that is the cause of our problems, and our life becomes a further entrenching ourselves in our problems, the pathologos, or mastering the logos through the dialectic. So that's the difference between dialectic and debate. And of course the highest use, dream work, making you the sort of bod that Socrates wants to hang out with. And also, as we've just seen there, the first, second, and third hypothesis, or the threesome. The one self, pure being, and the soul form a triad, or the threesome, that are those first 3 hypotheses. The idea of being is the notion we have called ousia, self-reflection in the highest way. It is the major idea of both the second, knowing the self as mind, and the third, reflecting on the self through understanding. They're both ousias, self-reflection. Going over these ideas, as we've done today, is contemplation, the spiritual method. And the more sincerely you enter into it, requiring the personally meaningful goal of stakes, requiring you to have some patience, no snappy answers like Asmongold gives. Listening to every word. Taking your time in the responses. The more sincerely you enter into that, requires patience, courage, temperance, keeping your cool. All of the virtues, you're practicing them. The more sincerely you enter into it, the dialectic as we've been doing today, the more it becomes the soul's preparation for vision. That's the game. Mind coming to know the mind. True philosophy. So, there we go. That's the difference between dialectic and debate. That's the difference between true philosophy and fake philosophy. That's the difference between pathologos functioning and logos functioning. That's the difference between modern philosophy and true philosophy. And that's why dream analysis is the highest activity and the most important and significant activity we can do while we're here. And have the most fun with our friends. I hope you had fun today. We answered some questions, did some talking. Still got some more of the book to read. Oh my goodness, if we're already this wise, how wise can we potentially become if there's more books to read? And we're still wondering about the problems in the 9th ox herding picture. And I wonder if they're resolved in the 10th. Lots to think about. Thanks for joining me. Thanks for sticking in there. It requires courage and keeping your cool and all of those things to stay sticking in there, because it will challenge you. But that's why there's 2 parts of the game. Thanks once again. Feel free to donate to the channel if you can. Support the channel by donating or following on YouTube and Twitch. Link to text below, link to Discord below, and I'll see you in the next one.